origin of clout chasing is the same as the origin of every slang out there and is lost to time. Now, a clout chaser is someone who likes to hang around famous people, thank you, in order to gain popularity. They also like to put up controversial posts on social media for popularity's sake. Now, today on the show, we'll be talking about the youth and clout chasing on social media. My name is Rachel M. Isaac, and this is to officially welcome you to the show where we bring you nothing but good vibes, the Vibe Cafe Show.
And my name is Eric Wanso, and we will be right back after this break. Don't touch that dial.
Welcome back to the Vibe Cafe Show. Now we're on to the sit-down segment. Now this is the part where we get to talk about our topic of the day, which says youths and clout chasing on social media. Now this is something that has been on for a while now. It is almost a thing that if you want to be famous on social media, you have to be around famous people, or you have to fake your death. Or you have to do something to ensure that you trend and you're on the minds and also on the lips of people for a very long time.
In front of someone's property.
Exactly. So, what is clout chasing?
I feel it's when people associate themselves with people that are famous or people that are successful for supposed fame or influence. You know, everybody wants their 50 minutes of fame, especially on social media now, where people are trying to get followers, people are trying to get likes, so they will do anything just to get that. And because there's also the advent of influencers, and so the more followers you have or likes you have, you can translate it into, money. You can monetize it. So I feel a lot of times that's why some people do it, but sometimes they cross the line.
Nowadays, people even go as far as paying money for their brands to be featured. So you see a very misleading caption that says something totally different from what the video is saying. And at the end of the day, people are using it to... I kind of like the fact that a lot of people are channeling whatever means they can use to sell their brand. But I don't like it when there's so much negativity surrounded or there's so much negativity promoted in the process. Like we know a certain celebrity who had to fake his death at one point, and what that did to his career was it put him and the career.
Oh, you remember there was even a celebrity who faked, being on fire.
Okay, no, that's what I'm saying, that a lot of people do that too. I remember the case, there was a movie that was to come out and then there was a scene where it had to be on fire. But you know what that thing did to the brand? It was supposed to make the movie sell, but I don't think it even had, it just killed the whole vibe. I remember then, this guy is a very close of mine. I remember that I had to call, his number was not reachable, his wife was not taking calls, they made it seem like it was real life. And because of that, it affected some things before they come at me for saying something. So I like that a lot of people use it to promote, but then in what light, to what end?
To what end?
Yes, to what end? How far
would you
is
go
too far? Yes, how far can you go in your pursuit for fame and clout?
For me, it's if you're going to compromise yourself, your integrity, and also try to ruin someone else's name just because you want to be famous, it's never worth it in the end. You have to find, yes, you want the popularity, you want the fame, and it's also it's not some people's fault, because a lot of companies these days and a lot of, brands want people that have more influence on social media, more likes and more, so people want to go the extra mile to be considered for some of these opportunities. So people go that far, but I mean, it's fine if you're going to do that, but there has to be boundaries. You can't go and soil someone else's name or someone else's reputation that they've taken time to build just because you want to be famous.
Okay, so now I was having this thought earlier where I was saying that I can say clout is almost like publicity stunt. So do you think it is publicity stunt? Is it same as, or is it different from publicity stunt?
They are similar in they have the same aim. They both want to be famous, either publicity stunt to get more people to, draw more eyeballs to the conversation or to your page or to your person. It's all in the end for fame or influence. They're different.
At the end of the day, you're trying to pass a message across to people. Yes. I think that's there are similarities.
Yeah, they have similarities.
Not exactly the same thing, but there are similarities.
Yes.
You're trying to pass a message across. You're either trying to sell a brand, you're trying to sell something, you're trying to get someone killed,
get someone's
put
attention.
Somebody's name. Yeah, the idea is you're trying to get your attention. You want to be in the public glare, public eye.
Yes.
So that's what I think it is.
So that part where you were talking about the celebrity who faked his death, do you think if something real happens to that person, people will be sympathetic to the
Now
person?
that's the downside. That's the negative part. So now when this person dies for real,
People
or
will not take it
if I'm
seriously.
sorry, no, I take back when
If
this
person
person,
dies for
if
real,
something now
people won't
happens in
take
a
him
person,
seriously.
no one would take him serious. Imagine that around that time he came out to say, because I remember that time I watched the interviews of him saying, I had no idea what people say, because a lot of people figured like, we don't know you, we still don't know you, we still don't care. And then that time the brand behind his brand, they were not exactly doing well. So it did not exactly, it just made, I was like, who is this guy? What does he do? And all of that. And look at how much he has grown now that he has decided to pursue
Bill
this
is
thing
without
the
the
proper way
others.
and the right way.
It also brings me to the fact that there are so many people that are always soliciting for funds, either for medical conditions and all of that. And people now become very, should I support? Is it for real? Because there have been instances where, you know, the person now finds out that, oh, this is not for real, or somebody is using it to siphon money. It's so many different things that,
Yes,
you know, one
different
has to be
things.
careful. If you're
Okay,
going to
so now let's talk about the effect that it has on young people. The effect, all the things that it has changed. And because the thing is, like we said earlier on, people use it to sell brands and all. Now, what this does is that it creates a facade.
Sad.
There's a
True.
perception.
True.
It's like when you have a mask on, people only see the mask, they don't see what is underneath.
Yes.
And because a lot of young people on social media are driven and led by what they see, what they perceive. The thing is, you are looking at it, but we only see what you want us to say. Just like now, we're looking at this drink, we can tell that it is a soft drink. But if someone comes to say that it's filled with alcohol, it's what they say. We see it, but we don't see it. Yes, that's the thing. So it's a facade, it's a mask. Then because of the fact that most people use celebrities to publicize these things, to bring these things to us.
People's attention.
Yes, and those people are role models, or they have people who look up to them. These people are not affected by what they see, by the facade.
Yeah, I also think it creates unexpected expectations.
Yes,
unrealistic expectations.
Yes.
I'm sorry to say. You know, people now want to do so many things that sometimes, and a lot of these people won't tell you the truth, but sometimes they sit back and they regret these actions. Because why can't you? Because people don't also want to grow organically. People want to fly before they can walk. So I feel that's the reason. A lot of people do not want to work hard. A lot of people do not want to put in the work that takes to get there. Because even all of those people that you see that are famous and all, it took time. Most of them actually took time to get to that place. I mean, people like Viola Davis, people like Mahershala Ali, you know, it took time to get to that place. So people don't want to grow organically. They just want to 15 minutes
Okay,
of
so
fame.
now you're talking about people who don't want to grow organically. So what do you say about people who are already there? They're grown, they are big, and then they do these things to stay. Is it that they do these things to stay relevant, or they do these things to pepper some people? Take, for instance, there's a particular public figure who, when she was getting married, she made us believe she was getting married to the son of one of the presidents of this country, ex-presidents of this country. And then we only got to find, and she also went as far as saying this guy has done this and done that. Then when they broke up, we started hearing nasty gist about how she was the one who paid her bride price. And so in our heads, we are like, okay, which is it? And someone was 40 seconds and 60 minutes and all of that.
I feel because in certain industries, especially in the creative industry, people always have to stay relevant. When you go out of the spotlight, out of sight is out of mind. So people always do some of these things to stay relevant, to stay in people's, you know, foresight, you know. So I feel that's why some people do it. But also it's just, it depends on your personality and how far you go. Some people, I mean, I was watching an interview, and Angela Bassett was saying that, you know, she's someone who, even though it took her long to get to where she was not going to compromise her artistic integrity. So it depends on you as a person. If you have integrity to protect, would you go that far, and how far is too far for you?
Okay, and then I also heard a part that got me very confused recently. So there's this part where people actually do these things, and there's a part where people pay people to do these things. So say for instance, now I'm a public figure and I want to trend, and I'll pay someone who now goes to say nasty stuff about me. So me, I'm not directly trending. This person is trending, but I'm like the subject and the subject
Or the
for
victim.
them. Yes, and the subject and they are the victim.
Yes.
The world will not see it that way. So
True.
at the end of the day, it's all connected. Everyone is doing something to stay relevant.
And like
Do you
they say, there's no
understand?
such thing as bad publicity.
There's
So
no,
people are just doing everything to be popular, to stay relevant. You know, it's just a personal decision.
It's a
and
personal
just,
decision.
yeah.
So what would be your last words on this? To young people out there, to everyone who's thinking of what they can do to be in our faces.
I feel like
in mind.
following your passion is always most important, but more importantly is fame is not everything. Being popular, there are some people that you don't see on social media and they're doing successfully, and they're making money, and you don't hear about them on social media. I think people feel like social media is where everything happens. Like someone said, nobody poor for Instagram, nobody ugly for Instagram, which it's just unrealistic. We all live lives. We have times where we are broke, hard times. People should just be realistic with their goals and where they're going and just grow organically. It will come when it will come.
I think the same thing too. I always like to think of what life would be like for some people when the social media is gone.
I always ask people before the advent of social media, we were living our lives and we were doing fine.
I always think about it that if the things that I want to see, say 10 years from now, that I will not be proud of, please let me not be involved. Yes,
True, I agree.
we don't know how far these things go.
True.
Trust me, a movie that you've done 10 years ago, if you look at it now, you cringe
You
and you be like,
ooh, I did that.
So now imagine that it's something that got people talking for the longest period,
time.
something that your
And
kids will
something
look
that
at in a
goes on the
couple of years.
internet, there's no way you can take it
You
back. A
cannot
lot of
take it
times,
back.
it will always be there. Your
You
kids
cannot
will
take
see
it
it, your
back.
grandkids will see it. You know,
You
and
cannot
it's
take it
just
back. I know a
sad.
certain entertainer, a musician who promised that this particular person that people are eating on, if for any reason they don't do this, I'm going to give the person 50 million, 60 million, and then you trusted that when finally they didn't win, like, so where's the money? And before you knew it, everybody started
Broken
thinking,
hopes
yeah,
and promises.
that's the thing
Yeah.
with social media.
True.
Social media never forgets.
People
Trust
should
me.
live their real life and not social media life.
Exactly,
It's just,
that's it. So there's something called social media life.
Yes,
That's
sir.
very, very annoying.
It's different from your real life.
Okay, guys, this is the much you can take on this segment. Yes, we'll be back with the lifestyle segment. All we need you to do is stay tuned.
Welcome back. It's still the show where we give you nothing but good vibes, and we're talking about freelancing today on our lifestyle segment. What do you understand by freelancing?
Okay, so freelancing is basically someone who is not tied to any organization. So it's more like, it's more understandable and relatable for creatives. Yes, more than, I'm not saying other people in other industries don't do freelancing, but it is more relatable as creatives to understand what freelancing means. You're not tied to any organization. You're free to do your thing. You're self-employed. Nobody owns you. You can be here today and you're doing this today, and tomorrow you're doing something else, and nobody can say, why did you leave my job? But you have to finish the job. If you sign contracts, you have to finish the job. So basically not tied to anyone, self-employed, doing your stuff and not tied to any organization.
Well, the problem I have with freelancing is that it's now made people lose structure and organization. There's a structure you need to have. For instance, you finish from school, you need to get experience somewhere before you start on your own. And that experience is invaluable. I mean, you have to get that experience. You have to understand that structure before you can go on your own, you know.
Yes,
Even
absolutely.
picking bird with a bone, you go sit down there in mama first small before you start to fly on your own. You know, so I feel like you should. No, I just feel, no. Let's drink to that. No, I just feel like you have to learn first. You know, learn the rudiments, learn the basic, learn the principles before you can branch out on your own. You know, it's important that people learn, especially young people. People want to, but also I feel like organizations too, they have high expectations. Where you want someone who just graduated and has 5 years experience. Where are you supposed to get the experience from?
Okay, so I would disagree with you a bit. Now, there are a lot of people who are already entrepreneurs or budding entrepreneurs before they go to school. So those people, what kind of experience do they need again?
From working somewhere?
From working somewhere else. They don't need any experience of working anywhere. There's some people even have the money and they don't feel like, no, see, there's not, it's just be a waste of time to do experience.
But there's no experience that is a waste. There's always something to learn somewhere.
That's what I'm saying, that what would be the need for someone who is already doing so well to What would be the need to
You
go
can
work
learn
other
work
organizations?
ethics. You can learn
Take for
organization.
instance, there was this time that Davido was trending because he didn't go for his NYC. I can't remember. He did registration went, and then when Oga was going to go to camp,
Camp.
he went there and performed, and at the end of the day scattered everybody's brain, and nobody remembered that he was supposed to actually go through the 1 year
But
program.
you know the thing that people forget, bringing it to NYSC, it's supposed to be a time where you probably go to another state, you learn about these people, you learn about this culture, you learn about different people from different schools, different backgrounds. See, all of those things are life skills that you will learn and put into your business, even as a person. It's always essential.
I get what you're saying. That's what I'm asking you now. Imagine that you had a business that you've been working on for years. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with what you're saying. I agree that you must have experience to be able to fit into any organization, because what it does is it builds you, it trains you, it helps you stand as a person before you now say embark on doing your own stuff. Then so imagine that you have your own business where you don't start already. This business, you don't train them. You now go to school, get knowledge, acquire knowledge. You're now standing on your own. Then you now leave school and now say you have to go and work somewhere else.
But that's the same way
you can work for yourself and gain all the experience with people who are more experienced than you are.
Yeah, but that's also the same reason why people who even are doing business still go and do their MBA. Because there's always something to learn. But aside from that, I feel like, young people who are doing it these days, sometimes it's the economic situation. You are working in a place where they're not paying you enough to actually cater for all the things that you need to do. So they take a job here, take a job. You guys pay bills now. One particular source of income or working in a particular place cannot provide. That's why it's become a lifestyle these days. So, I mean, it has its perks and it has its cons.
All right. So I'm just going to add to what you said earlier on about how experience is important and all. So I know a lot of people, it was a bit of an argument earlier, yes. I know a lot of people who go to intern in places where, so places of interest there. So you want to work as a broadcaster, you're done with school. There are media houses. Some of these guys might not even have space. And then the other thing that you could use to get them is, because sometimes people don't have space because there's no extra money, there's no budget for extra hands. You could go to them to say, I want to work under you, I want to learn under you, I want to intern under you. What we could do is I could forfeit part of my payment, or I could even do it and don't pay me. I mean, just pick me up, drop me at home. I just want to gain knowledge, gather knowledge, know that I have worked for these things. And it goes a long way. I remember that after school, there was this guy that I had to intern with. I learned a lot of things that I know now. I mean, there are days where I would see people working, and then after working, I would go in front of my mirror and I would go and rehearse and practice and practice. And then one day, a need came for an audition, and I just went and did it, and I didn't even think I would get picked. And the man was like, wow, you're so good. Where have you worked before?
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, I've never worked before. So these things help you. There's no wasted knowledge.
But country hard, and sometimes I must say that some employers actually take advantage of that. They want you to work for 1 year without even having to give you anything. And we know how the country, and we don't all come from different families, the same family. Some people are trust fund kids. They can actually do it, and not, there's no amount you want to pay them that they don't have, at the moment, even in their bank. Of course, experience is key, but we should also find a way to help the person, in terms of coming, and motivate them in coming, financially or otherwise.
Okay, that's very, very, very true. Very well said. On this note, we've come to the end of the lifestyle segment. Coming up next is Vibe, which we have decided would be to mind your business.
Day your day.
Yeah, I did my day, you day your day. Yeah, and as funny as that sounds, it is very imperative. See, it is very, very important. Minding your business. I don't know how else to overemphasize. You have to say, you see that this person, I'm not saying, there's a thin line. No? You might see that someone is
being caring and being nosy.
Exactly. Being caring and being nosy. You go and they say, wait till be your business. Auntie,
Drink your water and mind your business. In this case, I drink my juice and mind my business.
It will not kill you. But that one does not mean that when you now see that your friend's spouse is cheating on your friend, you not talk.
But I also think that one, it is not in your place to do that. I don't think it's in your place.
Okay, we don't want to do this.
We don't have to do this, but I'm just saying people should learn to mind their business, respect people's space, respect boundaries.
Absolutely.
It's important. It also saves you the stress of people actually, insulting you or this thing. A lot of times I stay indoors and people are like, where have you been for a year? We haven't seen you. I'm like, I did my day.
You said do your own day.
Make enough for enter, say, you know, that kind of thing. So people should just learn to mind their business.
Alrighty, thank you so much for being a part of the show today. Do not also forget, you can be a part of this show's social media page. Go there, like, comment. We see something that you like, suggest. We are here to serve you better. It is at Vibe Cafe Show. My name is Rachel Isaac.
And I am Eric Wanso. And from us, Ego B.